would love to know first off how you two know each other and how, yeah.
You want me to say, Bonnie, start?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, we'll probably give both renditions.
I'd love it.
Yeah,
Somewhere
exactly.
in the middle. Go ahead, Erica.
So I know I'm friends with Bonnie's sister. I'm in a book club with Bonnie's sister. And I know Bonnie's sister through a friend of mine. Our kids are friends. So that's how I met Laura, which is Bonnie's little younger sister. And I guess when Laura had a baby shower, I met Bonnie at the baby shower. And Bonnie played her guitar, a piece that she had written for her new niece, I guess, that was coming. And I was like, tears coming down my face. I was like, who is this person? So we started to talk at the baby shower, and she was visiting from New York. And I was like, oh, I used to live in New York. And so we had this kind of a nice little connection about New York City. And then I don't think I saw Bonnie
playing the violin too.
That's right. I had been starting to, you're right, Bonnie. We started to connect about music because I had played violin when I was a young person and didn't touch it for about 20 years. And then a couple of years ago, I picked it back up again. And so that was something we were chatting about. And then I didn't see Bonnie for a little while after that. I had heard through the grapevine that she was moving to the Cape, actually. And then this is a very funny story, Trish, because I had just gotten on the board of Cape Rep.
Oh yeah.
And I had a binder full of stuff that I was going to sit down at Snowy Owl and read my binder of stuff. And I'm sitting at Snowy Owl working, and I keep looking over at this woman. I'm like, gosh, she looks really familiar. But I'm like, but I don't quite know where I know her. But it's Cape Cod right there. You kind of know everyone. And then kind of near the end, I was like, I don't know how you heard me say something, right? I was telling someone a story about
talking to someone else. If somebody came up to start talking to you, because I was looking over at you and being like, I know her. We were sitting right next to each other, both engrossed in our writing and reading stuff. And somebody came up to you and started talking. And then when you responded, I was like, I know that voice too. I know that person. I know that voice. I know. And through the conversation, at some point you mentioned something that I was like, oh, Erica.
Yeah.
So yeah, we started talking again.
Right. And I was like, and I told her what I was doing. And she had told me her father, was a big theater person and loved going to Cape Rep. And her father was a teacher in what district?
In Bourne.
So he
was a middle school teacher in Bourne.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. And then that's it, Trish. And then I don't actually know. Oh, I did see you again under sadder circumstances.
Yeah.
If I don't know, Bonnie, if you want to.
Yeah. So my I moved back to the Cape because I had been going from New York to Boston a lot. My dad was sick, and the one plus about that whole experience was just getting together with my mother and my sister and my niece and my brother-in-law all the time. So they would come from the Cape to Boston, and I would go from New York to Boston constantly. My sister had just moved from Washington, D.C. up to the Cape. So all of a sudden we were all getting together from, all of our different places. And it was really like the one beautiful part about it was just all of us getting together. And so finally everything started to change in New York City, and there just wasn't as many reasons for me to be there anymore. And I was like, oh, okay, so I could just move to Boston and travel down to New York just as much, but just not, just have a different, spot. And so I moved up to the Cape, and after I wrote that song for my sister, I wrote one for Dad. and Dad got all excited about music and about the theater and about just all of this stuff. And I was like, Dad, you're being a dad. Like, just like, take it down a notch. But he passed away in January, and I think it just renewed just all of my interest in songwriting, in music, and like being with the theater and just all of that stuff. So when Erica was talking about it, when we ran into each other in Snowy Owl, when there was this little scene in Snowy Owl, because everybody knew Erica. So everybody was like, oh wait. Like, and and so, but we ran into each other again at his service.
And then I was like thinking about how I wanted to participate, and then it was sort of this like click. I was just like, I want to do this with Bonnie. And we didn't really know each other, so I was like, I want to do this with Bonnie, and kind of reached out to her, and I was like, hi. I don't know. Do you want to? Yeah. And we sort of got together on our deck, and the first time we were like, okay, all right, maybe we can do this. And then by the last time we were like, we won't embarrass ourselves. Let's do this. So it's good.
It's funny because for me, I didn't really think of myself as being able to like play a song, like there's just so many little components to it. But then like the song that Erica chose, and the fact that it was Erica, and it was just, there were so many pieces to it that I was like, it is ridiculous for me to say no to this. Like we've got to do this. So
what was the, you did Landslide, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I have to say, I snuck a peek, and it is so beautiful and so moving. And it's so interesting to hear how you've connected with each other. And so to see it, there is such a connection with you two while you're playing. It's very genuine, and it's very moving and beautiful. So please know that it's so, you guys are wonderful. And I love the song choice. So Erica, what was the motivation for you to choose that song?
Yeah, Landslide is just, it's just such a, it's just, it made me think of a time for reflection, there's certain lines, and it just felt right for this time. And for me, like specifically for me, Bonnie, like you sing it, but like now I'm blanking. What are those words again? Time makes us bolder. Children get older. I'm getting older too. Like, yeah. And that's how I feel. I just turned 40 this year. And there was just some sort of grabbing life, and just not caring what people think, not caring about what you're supposed to be, but like get your voice out there, and standing up for what you believe in, right? Like standing up for what you think is the right thing to say, even if it's not comfortable for people, even if it's not what people want to hear. And I don't know, that song just sort of made me feel like that a little. And it's a very pretty song, and Stevie Nicks is awesome.
I also remember there were a couple of times that we were on your deck, because we were practicing like with 3 sweaters on the deck, at a distance. And but there were a couple of times that we would approach it a little shyer and kind of play it a little bit, and then we would start talking about what was going on in the world and what was going on in our lives, and all of a sudden we're like, and this is why we're singing this song. And suddenly it would just come, and it got stronger, and we got better, and it had, we kind of connected to the meaning a little bit more. And I think it's perfect right now.
Yeah, it really was a great song choice, really.